are picking winners. It is DFS and bets. Of course, I need to clear my throat once the camera comes on. Hey, what's going on? Like we normally do, we break down 6 games on the main slate from a DFS side with Mangone and a betting side with Tyler Hicks, who is in for our boy Keg. Keg, I hope everything's all right, buddy. If you're watching this, if you're not, don't worry about it. I said nice things to you anyways. Mangone, wonderful to see you. The backdrop, you promise it's going to change. It never does.
I never said I never promised it would change. So don't put words in my mouth. Never.
You said you would at least turn it.
I did turn it.
You turned it? This is the turn?
The window's not in the picture, right? Then I'd make sure the window's in the picture.
All right, thanks for the effort, Mangone. Mangone's a little salty today too.
Oh no, Holden. I don't like when people try to read receipts me when I have the receipts always.
What's the receipt?
You tried to say what I said, Holden. I know what I had said. I've never said I'm gonna, for sure. I didn't say I'm gonna take this painting and
make it look nice.
Green.
You said you're gonna make it look nice.
Yeah, maybe at some point it'll get there, but you're saying it doesn't look nice. You're also saying it doesn't look nice. I actually think it doesn't look that bad.
Well, you do look angelic. I can say that. Tyler, wonderful to see you. Tyler on the bet side, runpurebets.com. He's been killing it in player props. He's been actually, you're almost like Keg's protege, right? And you've been doing a great job here. Sides, totals, NBA, NFL, obviously. So welcome to the show and talk to us. Just say something clever. It's the most uncomfortable thing that I can say to somebody that's debuting on a show.
I just want to say thanks for having me on. I haven't been on with you guys yet. Travis gave me that winner in the NBA last night with our Westbrook under. And speaking of his background, Holden, they were saying he looked like he was in a detention center on the rundown yesterday.
Yeah, I was nicer though. I don't say that to Mangone, but Mangone did get a little testy with me, so maybe next time. I don't know. Maybe next time. So the 6 games that we're going to break down, we're going to go Bengals, Ravens. We'll do a little Aaron Rodgers taking on the football team. KC, Tennessee, Atlanta, Miami, Detroit, and the Rams. Philly and the Raiders, and then the Thursday night game between Case Keenum and probably Teddy Bridgewater as the Broncos visit the Browns. But first, like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Run Pure Sports. Do the Run Pure Bet side while you're on it too. Little red sideways triangle down there in the corner. You can subscribe to it. And I also want to let everybody know that members still never win because they win every freaking night. Big prizes nightly. For those of you that are new, we have people on Twitter saying your members never win, yet they always win. They really do. Well, not every time you play, but we do have members winning all the time. Chief U took down 17-5 in the NFL. Amit TC, what up, dude? 200K in the NBA? Oh, I saw that last night, like Cookie Monster or something. Good job, dude. $200,000 takedown last night. So looking forward to this. Let's get into this, and we'll start on the DFS side with you, Mangone, and then we'll get the bets there from Tyler too. But the first game to get to would be Cincinnati and Baltimore. Like Lamar Jackson right now is just on a different level, isn't he? What do you want to do with this game from a DFS perspective?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson is on a different level, but there are other guys that are close to the level, right, that we could talk about. I love running quarterbacks. I think Jalen Hurts is close to him running-wise. Not saying football talent-wise. We're talking DFS here. Lamar Jackson, though, 7-4, definitely in play. Gets a Bengals team that is playing a lot better. Their defense is better. Their offense, all around, they're just improving. They're not your typical Bengals. So, yeah, I think that Lamar Jackson is definitely in play for DFS. I like him. I don't love the run game with Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, Devontae Freeman. You can guess with them. I will not guess with them. I am out. I will look at the pass game a little, but the problem with the pass game is, sure, Mark Andrews is fine. Price has gone up. Don't mind him in DFS, but tight end's a bit deep this week. There's a lot of different guys that you can go to. So I don't think Mark Andrews is a priority. He's someone that I am considering. He's someone that I think is in play, but he's not a priority for me. And then Hollywood Brown, if he catches touchdown passes, it'd be great. He just keeps dropping balls. So good correlation guy with Lamar Jackson. Not someone I want to be playing in cash games, though. And then on the opposite side, the Bengals, they got a low total, right? 21 is their team total. You got Joe Burrow, who's fine, but I think there's better quarterbacks you can go to. Joe Mixon's role is nice, but I prefer Joe Mixon's role when he is in the leading game script, and I don't know if they're going to be leading this game. That's one of my fears, which makes him a good tournament play. He obviously could get there and have a good game at 6.5K, and the volume he's seeing, he's kind of a 3-down back. And then Jamar Chase, you can't ignore him at that 6.2 price tag. I think there is upside. Just the question is, do you want to play him compared to some other options? And then Higgins, Boyd at 4.9, 4.7. They're in play. I think they're cheap options, but again, not guys that I'm prioritizing in my lineups this week.
Yeah, Jamar Chase has just been spectacular. There's no question about it. Baltimore, just as far as fantasy points go, 27th in adjusted fantasy points to the quarterback position. So I don't know if Burrow's really in the mix this week. To me, Jamar Chase always is. But Mango, let's talk about Marquis Brown for a second. And yeah, I wouldn't play him in cash. This is a tournament play. It sucks that he keeps dropping balls, but ultimately the bottom line is the numbers he's putting up. Last week sucked. You know, he dropped balls. He had 4 catches for 35 yards, but before that, he had 2 pretty big games. I mean, if you're playing Lamar Jackson, I'm almost to the point to where I'm throwing Brown and Andrews in there because Andrews has been a better fantasy producer than Travis Kelsey to this point.
Yeah, he has. And I've been going back and forth on trying to figure out what Kelsey is. Is he getting a little older? Is it a small sample? I think he's still fine though. Kelsey, I'm not too worried about him. Andrews, I don't mind. I think he's in play. You can go to him. I prefer him over Brown, I think. But I don't think Brown's just like a priority, right? I don't think he's a good – the issue with Brown in cash games is I think there's a lot more risk to it than people realize. Lamar Jackson only has 2 rushing touchdowns this year also, right? And I expect that to flip a little bit where he starts running a little bit more. And we saw it last week, right? The run game really went off. So that's one of my fears with Brown. I think there's a lot more ways it can go wrong than people realize.
Okay, let's go to Tyler on this. Tyler, we're looking at Bengals Ravens. You're getting 6.5 points. If you're backing the Bengals, if you're backing the Ravens, you can get them at 6. Total here is 47. Any read on this game? Bengals and Ravens.
I mean, looking at it, Bengals have been pretty much unstoppable. Like you said earlier, Lamar's just on fire. And Cincinnati's defense has been playing better. They're 5th overall in DVOA, 8th in pass, 4th in run. But I think this is going to be a tough game for Baltimore because I think Cincy's going to mark this game on their schedule. Figure big division rival. They need this game if they want to be in play for the division title. So I think taking the 6 with Cincinnati is a play here. But I think you're going to have tons of points here. I think that 47 is a little low. I think Lamar Jackson blows up on the ground here. I mean, we've seen a couple games where he hasn't really ran due to game script, and they've just been blowing teams out. So I think he gets back on the ground here and gets above 70 yards and gets a touchdown.
So big rushing day for Lamar.
Yeah, big rushing day.
I have not seen any props yet. But here, just historically, where they've opened, last week, 68.5 against the Chargers, 62.5 against the Colts. I mean,
and you figure he's went under that number a few times, so we're probably getting a cheaper number. And he's averaging 10 carries and 79 yards against the Cincinnati team.
Yeah, I can't see it being up at 68.5 either. Maybe 65.5, somewhere between the Colts line and the Chargers line. Anybody else we might want to look at? Anytime touchdowns, you like that? Marquis Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Marquis Brown. I think Burrow's rushing yards on the other side is a good look too, because we know Baltimore as a team, as a defense, they blitzed the hell out of these quarterbacks. They did it last week to Herbert, and you've seen it cause him troubles. Cincinnati's offensive line isn't the best. I could see him having to escape that pocket a lot and just scampering for like 5 to 6 yards each time. Okay. And that number's usually at like 18.5.
Well, if it's 18.5, he's only going over that one time. But that could change this week.
Yeah, I could see it being maybe a little lower. Then maybe we'll get like a 15.
And you take the 15.
Yeah, I'd take the 15.
Yeah, last week against Detroit, 20 yards. 11 the week before that against the Packers, and then didn't eclipse 7 in the other ones. But that will be an interesting look as we get in there. RPS NBA 15% off the lifetime of your subscription. Not only do you get in the NBA when you sign up, you get all our sports. You don't have to pay for different things. You get the NFL, which we're doing very nicely in. You get the NHL if you play hockey. Susie does a great job on tennis. We got just every sport, basically. Video games. What do they call that? LOL? Is that what it is, Mangone? Video games?
League of Legends.
League of Legends. Yeah, you can win there too. Bruce does a great job there. College football, everything. College basketball is coming up. RPS NBA 15. Let's get into our second game here, Mangone. Washington, Green Bay. So we have Aaron Rodgers, who owns the Bears. And I kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to end up owning the football team this week too. Total in this game's 49.5, and the Packers are 9.5 point favorites. So you kind of get the sense of where this thing is going. My question, how do you attack a game where one team has such an advantage over the other one? Do we want to back Rodgers and hope that he gets all the numbers in 3 quarters? Do you want to target the rushing game? What do you want to do here, man, going from a DFS side?
Yeah, I think it's one of those games where you can just play Adams and Rodgers, and that's it, right? You don't have to do the run back if you don't want to. Correlation does matter in NFL DFS, but it definitely hasn't mattered as much this year. Now, is it a small sample? Probably, but I think you can get away with it. I don't think you need to correlate there. You can correlate on other things in your lineup with other stacks. But I think the Rodgers-Adams pairing, we've seen it go off in just games where they blow them out. And I'm not saying they're going to blow them out for sure. It's an 8.5 point spread. Sure, the football team will put up some points. Gibson is banged up. And if Gibson's banged up, J.D. McKissic is going to be a really good value play that we just can't ignore. Terry McLaurin could be someone that can easily get the job done here against Heineke. We know he's not scared to throw the ball. We know this Packers secondary is not good, and they could have a really good trailing game script. So you can go Rodgers, you can go Adams, pair with McLaurin, and that's pretty pricey. So, like, once you start doing that, you know what you're not doing, Holden? You're not probably getting a lot of exposure to that Kansas City Chiefs and Titans game, which is a 57.5 total, which you'll probably want some exposure to, but it will make you different, right? So it's a 49 total. That's I think it's tied for second highest total on the slate. Eagles Raiders is at 49, and then Lions Rams at 50.5. And one thing worth mentioning, there's a common theme on this DFS slate. You have a lot of heavy favorites. Rams, they are 15-point favorites. Bucks, 13-point favorites. Cardinals, 17.5 point favorites. So there's a lot of that. And on a site like FanDuel, which you don't talk about a ton, touchdown equity matters. And there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored on those teams that are favorites. So don't ignore them. Sometimes we just kind of see the blowout and we say, oh, the game won't interact, right? We can't correlate it as well. But there's a lot of touchdown equity there. So don't ignore that. And I think that's one part to say with the Packers. We know where the touchdown equity is going. It's probably going to Aaron Rodgers and Devonte Adams. And if it's not going to Devonte Adams, and Devonte Adams has a lot of ownership, Holden, it might go to Aaron Jones, who could be a really good leverage play. Now, I know, yes, Aaron Jones is a guy that doesn't get a lot of rush attempts. It's very concerning, but it's more of a tournament play that's not really owned, and it could leverage a high-owned Devonte Adams, which he's not high-owned every week, but some weeks he is.
Aaron Jones actually paid off for me last week. It was like 3.5%. It got me 21 DraftKings points. That was nice. I do think we need to keep an eye out on McLaurin, though, because the hamstring last week, I kind of felt like it hampered him a little bit. He missed practice here on Wednesday. So ultimately, that Friday practice, man, going is going to be a big one for him because I just don't like it right now. It makes me very uncomfortable to roster him. Good talk. Thank you.
You want to monitor it? I guess. I mean, Holden, so here's the thing. I didn't know you were even asking a question there. I didn't realize, like, it was a question.
Well, it's a statement, and when you communicate in English and you understand it, normally one person says something and then the other person comes back.
You didn't talk about Gibson, though. I thought you talked about Gibson and his injury because that matters too.
Screw Gibson. Go back to McKissic. Another guy last week.
Go to McKissic. I just thought you were going to continue on the injury.
No.
So we'll stop it at McLaurin.
Just McLaurin.
I think the key here is, and Holden, you're good with the Washington news, so I'm going to wait on that, right? I'm going to wait on you to give me the green light on some of this stuff.
Okay.
You're doing pretty good. So I don't know why I'm answering it, but I'll just say this. It is currently Wednesday, right? Wednesday, it's tough to make these decisions without having the injury news because one thing can happen and the slate just flips, right? It's just completely different. Like Dalvin Cook got ruled out and then boom, Alexander Madison was like a lock. That was like 2 weeks ago or so. But if McLaurin gets ruled out, yeah, there's going to be a lot of different guys that you can go to here, but do you really want to play them? Are you excited about Curtis Samuel, who we know he's banged up? Yami Brown. Are you excited about Adam Humphries? I mean, they're fine plays. If I need the value, I'll go to it, but I don't know if we're going to need the value. It's one of those things you kind of have to wait till Friday to see how everything develops. And then if you need a 3K receiver, then yeah, sure, these guys can come and play.
All right. Yeah, I do think McKissic is one way to go here if McLaurin is hampered.
We could talk about Ricky Seals-Jones too, right? I mean, he's still too cheap on DK at 3.7. So don't want to completely ignore him. He's if you listen to any DFS podcasts or NFL podcasts, they'll tell you that he, was the number 2 prospect in high school. So, he's apparently a very talented kid, kind of starting to come into his own a little bit, and he's going to get opportunity. And hey, the Packers are a team that you can attack in the pass game. So I do think Ricky Seals-Jones at tight end is an interesting play. The problem is there is more opportunity cost at tight end this week. I think it's a stronger week for tight end than normal.
All right, Tyler, let's do this. Just first of all, the injury news. Like, how do you balance betting numbers early in the week and then on the other side, looking at a star that could be either hampered or just flat out of a game?
I mean, looking at it with this one, I mean, the McLaurin news is big. I mean, Gibson, this Green Bay defense hasn't been good against the run all year. So I could see McKissick rushing for a bit of yards here, even if Gibson doesn't play. But that drop off from McLaurin to the second and third receiver is big. So I think that Friday injury report, like you said, is going to be key. And if he plays this week, give me all 9.5 of those points with Washington. They're coming off 3 or 4 losses. They get that win against Atlanta. But I think one thing everyone's overlooking here, Green Bay is going to turn around after this Sunday game and play Arizona on Thursday night. That's a key game against a team that's probably going to be a top seed in the NFC. They're going to be looking ahead to that game over this Washington game. And we've seen them play down to their competition this year. I could see this being like a field goal game.
Oof, that is uncomfortable. So Washington, this line's all over the place. Man, I got it at 8, 8.5, and 9.5 at 2 books.
Well, Tyler, I think that's a good point you brought up here real quick. Like, Dylan could be a really good over prop to hit. I don't know if it's out yet. I don't think it is, but that's something that I would definitely not ignore. If, with Tyler's point, they could easily ride Dylan out a bit and then use Aaron Jones a little more for the Thursday night game, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree there. I could see that. I also like the Adams call you made. I think this is the game where he gets 2 touchdowns in one game. He only has 2 touchdowns on the year. This Washington team's been gashed by wide receivers all season. I think this is the game where you see him catch like 2 slants for touchdowns inside like the 5-yard line.
You staying away from that total of 49?
I'd probably lean over, but I'm going to stay away from it.
Okay, so more than anything else, what I'm getting from you is Devonte Adams.
Yeah, Devonte Adams day in here.
All right, and then obviously Mangone. Devonte Adams is always in the mix for us. Does he have the highest floor of any player? I guess it's him and Henry, right? That's it at this point.
Yeah, him, Henry. I mean, Cooper Kupp's starting to get into his range. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best. It always depends on construction. And I heard Tambo say this on one of our review shows, which you got to check that out. I mean, that's on Mondays. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. And I heard him say it a couple of weeks ago, and I thought he brought up a good point. In tournaments, like, Devonte Adams has to do a lot for you at 8.9K, right? I mean, even when he put up the 40 fantasy points against the Bengals, there were teams in the top 10 that did not have Devonte Adams. And part of it is, I think, the pricing algorithm with so many good options in that mid-tier range. Like, I'm just going to rattle through the guys below 7K, right? Here's like the 6K range. And that is $2,000 or more below Devonte Adams. You can have Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley, Mike Evans, Robert Woods, Antonio Brown, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, Julio Jones, Brandon Cooks, Chris Godwin at 5'9", Marquis Brown at 5'8". I mean, and Kenny Galladay's 5'7". I'm not saying that he's like healthy right now, but you know the talent he has, right? Shepard's at 5'6". If all those Giants guys are hurt, he could be in play. Jalen Waddle against a terrible Atlanta secondary. Now, I know, again, Devonte Adams is Devonte Adams, but the point I'm getting at is you can play 3 mid-tier wide receivers, and Devonte Adams is 9K, and then those 6K receivers add up to about 18K, 3 of them. Now you got room for 2 4.5K receivers. The point I'm getting at is there is a huge ceiling for these mid-tier receivers where even if Devonte Adams goes for 40, if you got other 6K receivers that go for like 28, 30, 25, which is certainly possible, you will not need Devonte Adams. And even if he goes for 40, you still might not need him because of other positions. So in tournaments, Devonte Adams is not the worst fade.
No. Okay, I got it. Unless he goes for 3 touchdowns, and then you're screwed. But,
of course, but again, how often does he go for 3 touchdowns? It's not as often. And if he has high ownership, right, that's the key. If you're going to have Devonte Adams at 33% and you can eliminate the field like you did last week, or even if he goes for a 25-point game and you have these other guys that can match him, you can just catch up on the field. So that's why I've talked about it all these shows. In tournaments, this mid-tier build is just very key, in my opinion. I think it's a very good way to go, especially when the field gravitates towards the stars and scrubs build.
Oh, you know how else to get different? Play Robbie Anderson. That's a good one too. Just play Robbie Anderson and
Shots fired to Holden. That was her
all
fault.
of your
He got
hopes.
me a touchdown
See,
last week.
I didn't ask a question and you picked up on it. It was a statement.
Yes, we know, because anyone watching knows. Why was there laughs afterwards? Why was Tyler laughing? Why were you laughing? There was more to it. It wasn't just a statement and we all stared at each other and looked at us. There was laughing going on, and I saw the action, and actions speak louder than words, Holden. So I reacted.
Tyler, you know what I like about Mango? Mango in last year, he's kind of a softie. Now he's just coming back with fire. He comes out to Colorado. He's like, fuck it. We're taking everything down. I'm burning down the house. And I love to see it. I love to see it. Angry Mango.
If you watch the Sunday night live show, when we did the Showdown show, that's when you would know. I was sitting there eating mac and cheese, yelling at people. It doesn't get lower than that. So there we go.
Can we plug some of these other shows too? Because people know we do the 2:00 Eastern time shows. We do this show tomorrow, me and Mangone with the Cash show too. But on Sundays, besides for the whole buildup, we got our first show at 8:45 Eastern, and then it's me and Hoop and Big T. We do the Wood, and then me and JSU and JJ up to lock. But Sunday night, give a little plug to that show, because I've really gotten into Showdown since I started working here.
I'll do this one. Let me tell the people to like and subscribe, the 2 thumbs up for our boy JJ. And then I'll go through the whole schedule. I'm going to give you the whole thing, Holding, because I got it memorized up here. So we got tonight, we have the Spread podcast with you and a cast of characters. Apparently Title's not going to be there, but you have a lot of people tonight. You got the Spread podcast. Tomorrow is Thursday. We got the Cash show. We got the Showdown show that I believe is right after that one. We got a bet show with Tyler, I think, and Spread. We also have a show that's paired with the Mayo Media Network. It's JT Hayes. It's Tambo. That's Thursday night. A lot of people probably don't even know about that show. So check that out. That's absolutely awesome. Whenever Big T and them decide to do the big show where it's him, JSU, the Print Factory with ODB, who gives out the winners for the Pick'em contest, we got that show that you got to check out. I don't think JJ will be there this week because I think he's on the old honeymoon, but that'll be either Wednesday night, Thursday, one of the two. Friday, we got the news dump show that's at 5:45 or 5:15.
5:15.
Probably will change, I think, with the NBA around the corner. It'll either be before or after. I'm sure we have to figure that out. Saturday, we have the Millie Maker show at 8:00. That's a premium show. Bobby Gomes, DC, Snyder, they break down their top tournament plays. I mean, one week, Bobby Gomes gave out Giovanni Bernard, and he was put up I think 20 plus fantasy points at 4K and was literally 0.2% owned. So they're really talking some deep, dark stuff over there. And then we start with the Off the Chalk show at 8:45 in the morning. Start there, get the 10:00 Eastern. We get the Wood show, get the final countdown with JSU, JJ, and some other guy. And then at 7:00, we do Rubio, and then Big T and JSU hop on occasionally. We got Bobby Gomes as well, and we talk the Showdown stuff. So I don't think I missed the show, Holden. How did I do?
The 3 people that are still watching after Mangone went through a 10-minute spiel on our programs, yes, you did a wongful job.
We're at 31, so we gained a viewer while that was going on. So that in the business is a good thing.
That's how we build it. Just have Mangone, you just need
32, it's going up.
Talk about the schedule. Just talk about schedule every day. Come out with a video, and it's just going to exponentially grow. Mangone, I'm going to let you catch your breath after that long diatribe that you just gave us. And let's get to our next game. Kansas City and Tennessee. Tyler, let's start on the bet side in this game. Kansas City's defense, for lack of a better term, they suck ass. I'm just going to say that. They're horrible. The total in this game is a ridiculous 57.5. Titans plus 5.5. Tyler, can you bet an over 57.5?
I can't. I mean, I could see this game flying over, but I think there's a lot of paths where it goes under. You figure Tennessee grabs a lead. They could just chew clock with Derrick Henry. He gets 30 carries in the game. They have a couple drives of 8 minutes. And all of a sudden, that 57, you just don't have enough time to get there. But, I mean, if anybody's got the formula to beat this Chiefs team, it's definitely the Titans with Henry. But their defense has been giving up a ton of passes. They lost Caleb Farley to a torn ACL on that Monday or Sunday night game. So, I mean, this team just looks in disarray in the secondary. So I think you could see points in this game, but I could see Derrick Henry just dominating. Give me that 5.5 with Tennessee.
All right, just give them the number. They're going to cover this. Mangone, this is juicy from DFS. Probably, if it's not the Rams, is this going to be the game that everybody's on, or at least on one of the two sides? I mean, we got Derrick Henry going up against a sieve of a defense. AJ Brown will have another week under his belt, so Tannehill's got to be in play. Mahomes, Hill, Hardman, Kelsey. So here, we talked about Kelsey briefly, so let's start with him. He was down to 7K last week. He's 7.6 on DraftKings. He was 8.5 on FanDuel, and this week he's down to 8.2. Any concern there with Travis Kelsey, or is he still the best in the biz? Because his first 2 weeks, really 3 weeks, he was sensational. Still seeing the volume, just need him to get back in the box.
Well, Holden, he's not the best Travis in the biz. The best Travis in the biz is Mangone, but Kelsey, he's a pretty good one too.
God.
But yeah, so let's talk about Travis Kelsey here because I love him. He's someone that I'm going to be looking to play in DFS, but again, tight end's really deep. I mean, as we keep going through these games, I mean, every game I've talked about a tight end being in play, Holden. I mean, Travis Kelsey has got a decent price tag at 7.6 on DraftKings. FanDuel is a little priced, so I think he's above 8K. But I think he's definitely in play. Tyreek Hill, clearly he's played hurt and he's still got the job done. The problem is, do I want to play him in cash games over Cooper Kupp? Do I want to play him over Devonte Adams? Probably not. But tournaments, we know the upside that he has. I don't want to ignore Mecole Hardman. I think his role is legit. And there's also some built-in equity of if Tyreek Hill gets less snaps, if he goes down, it's clear. Mecole Hardman is more a part of this offense. And at 4-3, cash games, tournaments, I think we have to take him seriously. Pat Mahomes is obviously great in a tournament stack. You're not going to ignore him. I think if you want to play him in cash, sure, but I think it's unnecessary. I think it's a bad use of your salary. And then Daryl Williams' price went up, but I still think he's in play. Let's go to the Titan side, though. Derrick Henry, I mean, the price tag. Have you seen the FanDuel price tag, Holden, on Derrick Henry this week?
$7 million. It's a lot.
Yep, it's pretty close to that, 11,000, which that
Can you
pricey.
Imagine that?
It is pricey on FanDuel, but on FanDuel, you can build some superstar teams. So here's my suggestion on FanDuel and DraftKings, right? If you're considering in cash games that Derrick Henry fade, build the 2v2 to see with him in and without, and then see what you like. Both sides, FanDuel and DraftKings. I think that's super important. It's obviously a 57.5 total. You're going to like Derrick Henry. I don't know what his ownership is going to come in at, but that's going to be key this week. I think Julio Jones, AJ Brown, they're both in play. The problem is those guys, I mean, they're definitely banged up, right? Julio's banged up. I know AJ Brown had food poisoning. He swore off fast food on Twitter. So I guess he's done eating fast food. So hopefully he's going to be a little bit better for this game and not getting shot up with IVs all game long. But I think that pass game is really in play. And Holden, a lot of people, they look at this total, 57.5, and they want it in tournaments. They want to get different, right? They're like, oh, I can't play this game. It's too high owned. So what are they going to do? They're going to look for a game to play, and they're going to keep going through, and they'll be like, oh, Packers, Washington's fine. I don't mind Rams, Lions, but do I want to play any Lions? And then they'll talk themselves into a Giants, Daniel Jones, Sterling Shepard, Robbie Anderson stack. And that's just not it, Holden. Don't talk yourself in tournaments out of going to the 57.5 total and go to some stupid 43 total, right? If you're going to do that, gravitate towards one of the higher 40 totals, or just go to that Titans game, Holden, and just say, I don't know what's going to happen in this game, but you know what I do know? I know it's going to have a lot of points, and I'm going to embrace some variance, and I'm going to go to some lower owned guys. Play a Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, Julio Jones stack, and pair it with Daryl Williams, because that's a way to make your stack different amongst this game. I'm not saying that will be the winning stack, but once ownership comes out, either look to make your stack within that game different, or if you want to fade the game, go to one of those other high 49, 50 total games. Or the other thing you can do is, if you do play the Pat Mahomes, the Travis Kelsey's, the Tyreek Hills, run it back with someone, and you got to get a little off the board with your other ways you're building your lineup. So that's kind of how I think you need to handle this game in tournaments. It's definitely not one you can just say, hey, it's the highest total, I'm going to cross it off completely. I think you need to look around at the other games and see, what is that projecting to look like? What is this projecting to look like? And really compare, because this is a big boy total, Holden. It's a 56.5 that went up to a 57.5. We can't ignore this game on this slate.
No, and I was also looking at Yahoo. He's $40 on Yahoo. I don't know how many people play Yahoo, but that's just $40 on Yahoo.
Isn't that 20% of the salary? It's a $200 salary on Yahoo, correct?
Yeah, you're spending 20% on Derrick Henry. What were we saying? It was 9. He's 9.5 on DraftKings.
I think he's 9.2 on DK.
9. Okay, you're right. 9.2 and then 11K on FanDuel. Oh my God. Hey, Tyler, what have you been doing with Derrick Henry props? Do you even get in on those?
I personally don't, because when you look at the yardage when you're scrolling through it, it's at like 105, and it's just like he needs to do so much to get there, and then at the end of the day, you look and he's got 130 yards.
Tyler,
So
you don't know what it is. It's not 105. It is high. What is your guess?
Right. I mean, this week it's got to be even higher. My guess is like $1.15.
It's 128.5.
That's just, I can't bet an over at 128.
So you're not betting the over, and it's like an uncomfortable under to bet.
Yeah,
right?
it's like we know he's touching the ball 25 times. You don't want to bet that under and watch him break one for 76 yards like he did the other night.
Right.
It feels like a bet that you're supposed to bet the under, though. Like I'm not saying I'm doing it. It's uncomfortable. Like I have other bets I can make and I feel more confident in, but like it does feel like if you hang it a 128.5 on Derrick Henry like 10 times, you're gonna win majority of the time. That's
look at his numbers, guys. Week 1 against Arizona, 58 yards. All right. Then he goes for 182, 113, which would be under. The last 3 weeks, 157, 130, 143.
He's averaging 130, I think, right now. And the volume is insane. But I don't know. I think with it being also the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they're able to move the ball in the air a little bit more, where like it's just going to be with ease, where Tannehill's just going to be able to dice up that defense. And like maybe they don't like run Derrick Henry into the ground unless they need to, right? Like if they can just keep passing on him, and also if they're trailing too, which you think they could be trailing against the Chiefs, right? At least that's what Vegas is saying. You're also going to see on third downs, Derrick Henry doesn't get in the game as much, right? They bring in the other guy, McNichols. So I have not put my money on. Typically, if I like a bet, I put my money on it. I'm still uncomfortable with putting my money on it. But if you're comfortable with it, I think it's a good bet.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that. And then the other thing to think about, what if Kansas City gets off to a lead? I mean, it's 21-0 after the first 20 minutes. Is Derrick Henry still getting 25 carries? I'm not so sure about that. All right. So Tyler, we talked to you about the total here. Anything else to chime in on? Any props that you might be looking at?
I mean, just one guy to target? I think this is one of them spots where Tyreek Hill could go for like $150, 200 yards receiving. I mean, we've seen these corners for Tennessee just give up yards all year. They lose their rookie who was looking pretty good in Caleb Farley. I mean, he might not catch the deep ball here, but I could definitely see him catching a couple underneath and just scampering around and housing one from like 70 yards. So give me his receiving yards over if it's below like 85, and give me his longest reception up to about 26 yards.
Well, that's interesting too, because you go back and you look at the lines where they closed 83.5 last week, 88.5, 81.5, 86.5. So it's probably going to be somewhere right around that 85. Like if you see it at 87.5, would you still hit it?
Yeah, I'd probably still hit it. I mean, yeah. I'm thinking he gets at least 100 here.
All right. I hope you're right.
I don't want to bet something if it's like 95.5.
Okay.
Kelsey does eat into that workload a lot, so he's not like Adams just getting pelted with the ball.
Yeah. And the other guy just to mention is Daryl Williams, who last week went off. And when you're the running back of the Kansas City Chiefs and you got a nose for the end zone like he does, you're definitely going to be in play. As Travis says, let's be like JJ and hit a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. That's the first thing.
You do it if you did your job, Holden. I mean, you gotta tell.
I just said 2 thumbs up for Mango. And then let's get into the next game, Mango, from the DFS side, of course. Now, Atlanta sucks and Miami sucks. But when you put 2 sucky teams together, it still could be DFS and betting magic, right? I know a lot of people are starting to talk Tua up this week. And don't forget, I know you're going to laugh at this. Matt Ryan, 29 DK points, 21.5 DK points. He's 5.7 on DK. I probably won't go there. I'm just bringing him up. What's your take on this game overall from a DFS side, Mango?
Yeah, I mean, Matty Ice, my hero. He helped me out earlier in the season. So, I got to give him some credit. So I definitely have some bias towards him. But I will say the one thing to like about Matty Ice a little bit is, let's say he hits his ceiling this week, okay? Let's say he has that ceiling game. It's likely paired with Kyle Pitts. And Kyle Pitts is at a tight end position. And I talked about it being deep, right? Even Mike Gesicki on the other side. I think he's a great tight end play against Atlanta. But tight end is one of those spots where you're going to have some real duds at times, and then you're going to have some real nice ceiling games. And like, if Matty Ice goes for that 28 fantasy point game, he correlates with a really good Kyle Pitts game. So you don't have to play the guessing game of, let's say you do a stack, right? Within your stack, if your stack goes off, Kyle Pitts probably went off with it. So it kind of takes that guessing out of who you're going to put at tight end. Like, let's say you play a random Tyler Higbee one-off. Well, got to hope the tight end goes off and does well, which again, tight end can be a little dicey sometimes. But again, loaded week for tight end. I love both these guys on both sides. And I think the pairing of Matt Ryan with Kyle Pitts is good. And I would also pair it with Calvin Ridley, because I think we got a Calvin Ridley breakout game coming here. At that price tag is 6.6K. I mean, that's crazy. If you told me, like in week 13, Devonte Adams was 8.5 and Calvin Ridley was 8.3, I wouldn't be shocked. And I think part of it is just how the season has played out for Calvin Ridley. So he also missed that one game in London against the Jets, and he would have carved up the Jets easily. So I like Calvin Ridley here. I think it's a really good buy low spot, and he is one of probably my favorite plays on the entire slate. I don't know if I'll play him in cash games for certain, but I do think that Calvin Ridley is one of my favorite tournament plays of the week.
What's his issue right now? I mean, what's the deal with Ridley? Why hasn't he blown up yet in your estimation?
I think it's touchdown variance, right? I mean, if you look, 13 targets, 11 targets, 10, 8, and he had 15 fantasy points, 14.1, 19.3, and 10.1 at his price of 6.6. Like, listen, that's not gonna win you a slate, but is it gonna lose you the slate? Sure, that 10.1 isn't great, but you could make it up in other areas. It wouldn't kill you completely. So I like Calvin Ridley a lot this week. I think he's worth getting exposure to. It's not the most ideal spot. I wish I had him in that Atlanta dome. That would be nicer. There could be some weather. Possibly, it sounds like it could rain a little bit. You know how Miami can rain out of nowhere too. So that's always something to watch with those Miami games. But I like Calvin Ridley a lot. I also think one reason why I hold him, well, Cordell Patterson has gone insane, right? I mean, I'm not buying the Cordell Patterson, monster games, 18.4, 34.6, 16.2, 24, and then 9. Like, that's just not going to happen every week. It's going to flip a little bit. And again, if Calvin Ridley has a big game and Kyle Pitts, it's going to correlate really nicely with Matt Ryan. So I think it's a really good approach to take. And I think it's good in tournaments. And I like the run back of either a Jalen Waddle or a Mike Gesicki. If you play Kyle Pitts, you're not going to play 2 tight ends. So it's probably more so Jalen Waddle.
Okay. Let's go at this from a betting side, Tyler. Any interest in betting 2 really bad teams? It's the Falcons -2.5 on the road, 47.5 is the total. I mean, I'm kind of feeling like we can get the 50 points in here. Thoughts, Falcons at the Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best look on the side and total is just taking the over in this spot. I mean, Miami's coming off the loss in London. Atlanta's coming off the win in London 2 weeks ago and off the bye week. Miami did very well against a 32nd ranked DVOA pass defense in Jacksonville. Now they're going to play the 30th ranked pass defense. Miami's defense on the other side has been a shell of itself from last year. They're not getting much pressure on the quarterback, so they're not forcing those turnovers. So I could see Matt Ryan using those weapons of Ridley, Pitts, and Patterson very well. So I could definitely see that 47 going over. But as for the side, I mean, I think it's more of a coin flip game. I don't want to pick either of these bad teams to win it. Just give me the over in this one.
Hey, do you have any of the talking points from Keg or anything on how you get the bet side? Any idea?
I know it's 25 bets off. You get the 25% off. Is the promo code.
Or if you're already a member, you can just hit get bets and try and get the bet side for free because it's really worth it. I'm on the bet side a ton. Yeah.
Watch the live shows with Jay, get all the spreadsheet plays from me, Joey, spread, JJ. I mean, it's definitely worth the $60 a month.
Okay. I agree with you 100%. Like button, thumbs up, subscribe, little red button, right-hand corner. Also, check out the Run Pure Bets YouTube page too. It's good stuff. And then I'm looking at the bet sheet right now. Tyler's got a pickup. Tyler's got his pickup already, a player prop. So keep an eye on that. 3 player props from Mangone today. Ooh la la. Ay Chihuahua. I like it. I like what I'm seeing here. And then AP. Dude, AP's so good at NBA betting. He doesn't bet that often, but when he does, I'm all over it. Okay, very good. Let's move on to our next game here. And that would be Detroit at the Rams. Do I even need to give this an intro here, Mangone? I mean, this could be the juiciest game the Rams could be the juiciest team on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, I think the KC one is, but yeah, you can make a case for all these Rams, and they're obviously going to be good, like Henderson, Kupp, Woods, Higbee, Stafford. Also holding, who doesn't love a good revenge? Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford revenge narrative. So got that going into your favor as well. So I don't like the Lions side. I guess you could make a case for DeAndre Swift just because like they use him in the pass game too. So he kind of sucked out last week and got that like touchdown at the end, but hey, I mean, that's just what his volume does. So I think that I like this game, but I like it more so as, hey, as I'm mixing throughout my lineup, I'm not really running back any Lions. I'm just like putting a Cooper Kupp as a one-off, a Daryl Henderson as a one-off, Higbee as a one-off, Woods as a one-off. That's kind of the way I think I'm approaching it. And I think Daryl Henderson in cash games is a great play. I think Cooper Kupp is a great cash game play as well. And that's really it for me with this game. I want to make sure to get exposure to this Rams team because I can't ignore their total, right? If you look at team totals, 33 is their team total, which is super high. There's going to be points scored. There's going to be touchdowns, and you're going to want to be a part of it.
You talked about Ryan earlier. I think it's an interesting discussion just in DFS here where we always want the guys that run a ton, but there's guys like Matt Stafford that can just blow up, you know? Like, have you had to balance that this year where we always want the guys that run, but there's still some pocket guys that put up points?
Yeah, in cash games, I like the guys that run. In tournaments, the thing that's nice, again, is like it's just if-then statements, right, Holden? If Matthew Stafford has a good game, then who is it? Well, it's Cooper Kupp. It's Robert Woods. It's Tyler Higbee. Maybe Van Jefferson. Like, you can basically kill, not 2 birds with 1 stone, 3 birds with 1 stone, right? You can take out 3 roster spots if they hit their ceiling. You can also sink your lineup as well. But the key in tournaments is trying to get to the top of the leaderboard, Holden. We want to get all the way up, and that's how you get all the way up there. I mean, yes, some weeks your stack's not going to work, but I do think this is a week that there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored. And on FanDuel, where touchdowns matter, I think making sure to get those Rams in your lineup makes sense. That's something I debated last week. I didn't play many Rams on FanDuel. I played them on DK, and I don't know if it was a mistake to ignore the Rams on FanDuel, but I feel like I should have gave them a stronger look because of the touchdown equity that they possessed last week against the Giants.
All right, very good. Tyler, let's talk about betting on this game if anyone's interested. I got a plus 14.5 for the Lions, a plus 15.5 for the Lions, a 50.5 total, a 51 total. Come on, break it down, sides and totals here.
I mean, looking at this one, the Rams should just be able to name whatever score they want this game to end in. I don't see Detroit really putting up much of a fight. You figure they lost some guys on the offensive line. Most of their weapons are banged up coming into this week. I can see this looking like the Giants game last week for the Rams, where their defense is running rampant. They're strip sacking Goff. He's running for his life. He throws a couple picks, and they're getting short field and just punching touchdowns in. And just like Mangone said, he said this is like the Jared Goff revenge game. I lean more towards Stafford wanting to show Detroit what he can do with some actual weapons here. So that 2.5, I know they're going to set his touchdowns at 2.5 once it comes out. I'll be on the over. I think he throws 3 in this game. And as for the wide receivers, I think you have to take both of them in this one, Kupp and Woods. I think there's a good possibility they both go over their yardage because I'm not sure which one he pinpoints in this game. We did see on that Thursday night he wanted to get Woods more involved, and he went for like $150. But then we seen Cooper Kupp go for 92 in that game. So, I mean, I could see this being that same exact spot. We've seen Cincy's wide receivers towards this Detroit team. We've seen Devonte Adams do it. So I don't see much change in there for Detroit.
Okay. Let us move on to our next game. Our next game would be the next to last game too. Philly and the Raiders. So Jalen Hurts, dude's running. We like to see that. The Raiders coming home, emotional victory over Denver. I think I did predict that last week. I thought they'd come together, and then what happened? They ended up winning this week. I'm a little concerned, Mangone. I'm honestly a little concerned. They got everything together last week. I think it's going to be a really up and down ride for the Raiders, especially on the bet side, Tyler. But let's try and come up with some angles here. Like, Mangone, start with Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts seems like he's just about always in play these days.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great play. Also, it's nice. You get to play the Vegas Dome, which is good. You get Jalen Hurts trailing. I mean, sign me up for some Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm not going to ignore him. Not going to ignore Devontae Smith at 5.4K too. Quez Watkins, I think, has taken a nice little leap, and I think he's better than Rieger. I'm not a huge Rieger guy, and I gotta be careful. I don't want to be the person that's like trying to be the coach and be like, hey, Quez Watkins should get the snaps, and then he just doesn't. But it did seem like Quez got more looks and was a little better. I guess I could go back and look at the snap counts. I don't know, Holden, if you could pull that up, because I'm kind of curious. Like maybe routes run, we could check that out. But these are cheap price tags, right? 3.9K for Quez Watkins, 5.4 for Devonta Smith. We have no more Zach Ertz, so that helps with some volume. Some will probably get thrown over to Dallas Goedert. Hey, another tight end that I mentioned on this show, Holden, deep position this week. And I think it's a good spot for these Eagles. Again, I said don't talk about some of these like random games, but it's a 49 total. It's still got some, got some juice in it. Jalen Hurts 6'9" is a really great play. And even Miles Sanders 5'1", it's getting cheap for him. I know he hasn't been the best, but I think there's upside in tournaments. And then the Raiders, they're kind of similar to the Eagles, where there was a bit of a guessing game going on, right? Josh Jacobs, Drake. It could be either of them. It could be Ruggs, Edwards, Renfro. You wouldn't be shocked if Zay Jones caught a deep one. And then there's a big tight end, and Darren Waller at 6.7K, another tight end that could easily have a big game. So the only issue I have with this game in DFS, Holden, is I think there's a lot of DFS goodness. The problem is I do have to play a bit of a guessing game. I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles and Raiders game didn't have a big day and it was a little quieter. And then if it does have a big day, I also have to guess who's going to, have a big day. So that's one of the things I'm struggling with trying to figure out how to handle it in tournaments, because I do think it's a good play. I think it's better for like the Millie Maker. I don't think it's as good for smaller field tournaments, but overall, I want to get exposure to this game. I think in cash games, the exposure is Jalen Hurts. It might be one of the Eagles receivers. And then on cash games, I'm not going to look at any of the Raiders.
So we're going to go to the bet side now. Like I said, Tyler, I'm interested in getting your thoughts on the Raiders, because I think now it's just going to be an up and down ride. I'm also uncomfortable backing the Eagles. It's a full fade for me. The total is 49, but let's see if you can dig something up here. And by the way, this is Waller week, isn't it? I mean, I
100% agree with that
he's
statement
been too
right
quiet.
there. Yep.
He's about to go off against this team, in my estimation. So talk to me.
One thing to say real quick before, we don't know this coach, right? It is a different situation, so that I don't want to just claim, okay, they're gonna just pound Waller all the time. And maybe they do. Maybe that's like their approach. But we do have a new coach and like new guy calling plays. So that is something to monitor over the next couple of weeks with the Raiders, because maybe you'll see something different. Maybe you will see Waller becomes even more of an alpha than he was. But it is something that we need to at least think about, I think, going into these Raiders games over the next couple of weeks.
All right, Tyler, bet side of things.
I mean, looking at this one, I definitely can't back Philly. They're like teetering on that like tank status, or if they're trying to fight for a playoff spot. I don't see it with them. I mean, Hurts is a good runner. I'm not sure if he's a very good quarterback yet. I'm not sold on their weapons. Their offensive line is still in shambles. I know they're getting Lane Johnson back this week, but you still got to get them guys to mesh as a unit before they're going to save Hurts back there. Max Crosby is going to be all over him, chasing him around. So I could definitely see him getting up to like 45 rushing yards in this one. But just like you said, I mean, this is a spot where I think Waller just dominates this Eagles team. Their linebackers are old and slow. Waller's been quiet since week 1. And one thing to note about that coach, that with him calling the new plays, we've seen once the Raiders were grabbing leads with Gruden still as the coach, they'd go into like that old offense where it's just run, dump off pass, punt the ball back. He was being aggressive with that lead against Denver. I think he keeps doing that, and I just think they keep pushing the score up. So give me the over in this one.
I like it. I like it. The over, uncomfortable, but I like the way you're thinking here. I'm just, again, let's see what it's like. It seemed from the eye test that they decided to just take Gruden's game plan and run all the time. And then you look at the numbers and it was a little more balanced than I thought it was. Okay, guys and ladies, thumbs up, like and subscribe. The overwhelming, majority of you are watching this recorded as opposed to live. It doesn't mean you can't hit the like button. So give us a little like here. Then also RPS NBA 15% off the lifetime of your subscription, as long as we're around and you're around. Everything's good there. Ugly Thursday night game. I just got done talking about it for over an hour, which was tough. Broncos at the Browns. This was Broncos +7. Then this morning it was Broncos +4, then 3.5, and now 1.5, 2. Case Keenum. The Case Keenum revenge tour is on as he and the Browns host the Broncos. You got no Nick Chubb. You got no Kareem Hunt. So it'll be a showdown thing here, Mangone. Do you even want to play showdown with these two teams right now? Maybe Dearness Johnson outside of that. This is gross, dude.
I mean, I don't want to play showdown, but I mean, we will, right? I'd
probably
rather play
will.
late slate, but there's always an edge, right? I'm not the guy to give you the showdown edge. That's Big T,
Yeah.
JSU, Tambo tomorrow. Showdown's not my favorite, but I'm trying to get better at it. I think I'm improving. I like my process. When you play showdown, this is worth mentioning, Holden. I think this is important. If you're not confident in it, one, you don't have to play every slate. Two, if let's say you're still getting used to showdown format, it's newer to you, you're used to more of the main slate, lower your volume a little bit. Let's say you have an edge in showdown, you like your process, but in that, then go up in showdown, right? That's super important, I think, to mention. Some people, they think it's a better format for them, so then just play more volume there, or then play less. I think that's just the key. For me, I play a little bit less. I practice on getting better at tournaments. I don't play cash game showdown too much. I look at the cash game process because you know why that's important, Holden? It's important to know what the optimal build is because that's where a lot of people are going. So then I can go the other way with it. Like, for instance, if people are going to play a lot of Browns, let's say they do like a 4-2 Browns stack. They go 4 Browns, 2 Broncos. I might go the other way and go 4 Broncos, 2 Browns, where I think I'm a little bit different with that. And then maybe look for like a small leverage point. Maybe I'll just fade one high-owned player. That's one thing I think has been very profitable for me is fading one of the high-owned guys, because that way I don't have to play these goofy off the board plays too much and just pray for it to work. So that's kind of been my process with it. I found some success, and this is definitely a bit of a different game because we don't have a lot of guys that you can spend up on in showdown because I believe they mispriced what's his name? The new running back for the
Johnson. Dude, I already put him in on my Monday to Thursday slates. He was locked in. What is his price?
It's absurd, isn't it? I heard it's really bad or egregious.
Yeah. Well, let me just go. Yeah, I'll go look it back up. But yeah, they just didn't see this coming. I don't know how many people did see this coming. Well, I did. You know, they're both banged up, so it's pretty simple. Let me find the.
No, it's good. It's like I think it's just like really dirt cheap, which that's going to add a different dynamic where that's more of a obvious build. Also, I think FanDuel made a mistake too, which again, these are good mistakes to point out because sometimes people miss them. I heard someone talking about it. I believe Case Keenum is like way too cheap over there. I'm trying to find it and pull it up.
Well, first of all, Johnson is 6,900 on DraftKings tonight, just above McManus and just below Njoku. Well, quite a bit below Njoku, but that's the price range that he's at. And then
so Johnson is on FanDuel is 10K. That's another cheap price.
Keenum's 14 on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's pretty
so
good.
They knew there was a shot. And I actually like that they did that. 14.
And then you got, here's the thing with Case Keenum. Case Keenum is the flat min. He's not just 6K, which sometimes they do with the backups. He's 5K. So like that's actually very key to talk about on FanDuel because typically when you jam in these guys, like we have Chubb is out, Bridgewater. So I put in Bridgewater, I put in Sutton, and I put in Case Keenum, which on FanDuel you can build the whole lineup, but we won't. Holden, when I put in Bridgewater, Sutton, and Case Keenum, it gives me 14K per position, average player for the last 2 spots. I can't spend all my salary, Holden. I can't. I mean, if I do, I have to play Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb. I mean, the next highest priced guy when it goes Teddy Bridgewater 14.5, Sutton at 12.5, and Tim Patrick at 11K. You just like can't spend your salary when you play Case Keenum. So I think the smartest thing to do is embrace Case Keenum. Don't try and spend all your salary anyways, and just like leave it a ton. Like feel free to leave 6.5K, 5K. I mean, it's going to be a really goofy week over on FanDuel. On DK, you talked about Johnson. I mean, he's 6.9K as a captain, and then he's 4.6 in the flex. I mean, you can't ignore him. And then I also wouldn't ignore in tournaments going to Felton as a leverage play over Johnson because weird things can happen. Like if everyone's going to be on Johnson, like depending on what his ownership's going to be, leverage it with Felton because we know running backs easily one guy could go off and they could easily go the hot hand approach. So also with the Browns, who's going to want to play 2 tight ends, Holden? The Browns throw tight ends all the time. So play 2 tight ends, embrace that. Also embrace that we haven't been playing Odell Beckham a ton, but Odell Beckham could definitely be involved in the run game a little bit because they're a little bit shorthanded. So I think the thing I'm noticing the most and the common trend on this showdown slate is One of the best ways to be different is leaving salary this week. There's not a lot to spend, and I think leaving salary on the table is a really, really smart idea.
Okay, let's go tonight or tomorrow night, I should say. Tyler, do you want anything to do with this game? I hit the Ernest Johnson prop at 58.5. And outside of that, I'm not really, I don't like it. Please give me something.
I mean, it is a weird game. It's an ugly one. But I mean, looking at it, all the injuries to the Cleveland side, and I mean, there are some key injuries on the Denver side too. I seen there was a news article that they might get Judy back this game. There was like a 50-50 chance he plays. I don't think he really plays. And if he does, he's not going to be very helpful. But I mean, this Browns defense with the injuries in the secondary, I see some of their corners are practicing. They should be back, but I think Teddy throws the ball pretty well on them. They'll still be able to stop that run from Denver. I like Teddy over 1.5 passing touchdowns here at plus 120. I mean, he's thrown 2 in 3 of the 5 games this year. And the 2 games that Cleveland didn't give up 2+ touchdowns to quarterbacks were the game against Chicago where they gave up 1 net yard to Justin Fields, and the Minnesota game where their defense flat out shut down Kirk Cousins and company. So I love that over 1.5 on him. And then I love his anytime touchdown too. We've seen him get more confidence with the legs running the ball. If they get down inside the 5-yard line and they can't punch it in with the running back, I could definitely see him running that little fake handoff, running around the edge. He runs it in at plus 750. So give me that.
I like it. All right. You found some other stuff to bet on. Wonderful. Mangone, any final words before we get out of here, my man?
No, I mean, it's going to be a fun week. I think the one thing I've been doing a better job in tournaments, and I think you guys can too, is like just be smart about how you get different, right? And also in cash, don't fade the cute plays, right? Like don't get cute. Like fade the good play the good plays. And tournaments, just be smart about how you're building your lineups. Don't just feel like you have to go like some off the board, like just out of nowhere play. Hopefully you guys keep crushing it. I mean, NBA is absolutely crushing. We still got a code going on right now for that. We should mention it. If you are an NBA guy, it is RPS, and it's RPS NBA 15, get you 15% off for life. Or again, we're on the bet show. If you like the bets, use that code GETBETS. You get the bet side for free for a month. So take your choice. We got codes for everything, and we got all the winners for you. We had someone win $200K yesterday. He played $84. $84 turned into $200K. That could easily be you.
Love it. You'll love to see it. Tyler, you'll have some props and some sides up here for the end of the day or tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, I'll have a few NBA plays for today. I'll have the NFL plays up for tomorrow. Jay should be live for tomorrow's game, and then we'll be live for the weekend games too on Sunday. So
he will be back to do the live show tomorrow?
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think he'll be back.
All right. So just so everybody knows, Keg does the live shows Thursday Night Football all day Sunday. He does NASCAR. He does Monday Night Football. So check that out if you're on the bet side too. Simon, great work back there. On your way out, hit the like button, subscribe button for Tyler. Thanks for hanging out for Keg. Mangone, always wonderful to see you. You and I will be working tomorrow with Hoop on the Cash Show, which is a premium show, also at 2:00 Eastern. I'm Holden. Simon, get us out of here.